Week 6 is over.
Week 6 is in the books.
Holy
and it was a good
crap.
week.
It can't get, it's just been one of those seasons where it just keeps getting better and better, and I don't want to jump ahead to Week 7 right now because we'll get to that soon, but if you haven't seen Week 7 slate, yeah, it is just incredible. This is the time of the year where you give your wife a hundo, you say, take the kids, you go to Hobby Lobby, you sit down in your couch, you order a pizza, you get a Red Bull for about 8 p.m. because you're going to be staying up late watching those games too. It's an all-day affair. You don't need to be leaving your couch.
That's how every week in college football is, in my opinion.
There's
this week was particularly like that.
it was really good this
Wait,
week.
here's the thing. Not a single top 10 team went down.
No.
And that's wild. I mean, so there's 15 undefeated teams. Now there's 14. And
Yep.
we saw Kansas game. We'll talk about that game in a second. But we'll talk about the undefeateds too. But let's kind of go back into the game. I want to open up. There was a switch in the AP poll.
Mm-hmm.
So Georgia went from 2 to 1. Bama went from 1 to 3, and Ohio State moved to that 2 spot. And the reason why is because of this Texas A&M at Alabama game. So let's talk a little bit about that and kind of see what happened there. Is there concern for Alabama? They won the game 24-20. Probably should have lost.
Yes, I think there's concern, and here's why. We rewatched the highlights from that game, okay, and then for whatever reason I'm like, let me go to the Texas game because I want to watch that game. Alabama is missing Sark, and I know I gave Sark a lot of crap and thinking, oh, he's not going to be a good coach. You watch Texas play last week, and you see that offense. It is completely the same offense that Alabama was running, 2 or 3 years prior. How long has Sark been at Texas now? 2 years,
It's
right?
only a second season, yeah.
So it's only a second season. You can really see that. The receivers aren't getting a separation to Alabama. The defense has Will Anderson Jr. Or is it Jr.? I can't remember. Will Anderson. And that's really it. Those are the biggest problems. We don't know if Bryce Young is healthy.
But that's the thing. I think that more than that, this week, the close call came down to more of the fact they had a young quarterback in the game. As much crap as I give Texas A&M, and Jim Blow did blow the game at the end of the game.
That
He
was
did
bad.
He did exactly what Jim Blow does. Blew it.
Johnny Manziel even tweeted out, he said, that was the worst play call I ever seen. And then Tyler showed me something earlier today about Nick Saban is breaking down that play, and he said this is a typical 2-point conversion type play, and he's breaking it down. In 30 seconds, he gives me more information than I could ever imagine. The dude's blowing my mind right here.
We're on the same formation, and we were actually trapping the flat and playing everybody inside out. So this number 3 receiver did that. All right, so, and that's actually what we wanted to play if it was a 2-point play, which this situation is the same as a 2-point play. Except because they had done that, we wanted to change the leverage on everybody. So we're playing outside technique. This guy's a rat. All right, Henry and 2 are reading the back. If the back goes out, 2 will cover him. If the back stays in, Henry will cover him and green dog him, and 2 will double number 1, who's where they threw the ball. And Terrion's really pushing the guys outside, which has helped squeezes them off because he knows he's getting help from 10 or 2. And then, we were afraid of the quarterback, possibly running the ball. All right, so we dabbed the front. All right, so we're going to take Will and take him off the edge. These guys are going to break the pocket, and 15 is going to pop out and mirror the quarterback. So we're trying to cover all the bases, obviously, on this play, and you can see how it came out. Terrion, you can see how he's playing outside technique on the guy, so when the guy worked back, he had a chance to make the play. You see how 2 is doubling out to him. You see how Henry's green dog in the back because the back didn't fast release. If the back fast release, 2's covering them. And everybody down here is playing outside technique with 9 being the rat on this side, to cut everybody on the inside route. So had pretty good coverage on the play, and the player made a really good play.
But we're looking over to the bottom part of the screen here to the left. Dude's wide open in single coverage. Dude over here, he's got the safety right here. He's got the cornerback right here, and he's taking the outside from that. And what's happening there is there's no chance. You got number 15 right here in the middle spying the quarterback. As I think Nick Saban, calls him a rat? Is that what he says? Something like that?
That's just a spy for the
they're
keeping him just to mirror the quarterback. They had that play covered on every facet.
It was perfectly covered. The only shot he had is a throw it down this way, and hope dude can come up with the ball, or he can try to run
That
it
play
in.
wasn't happening. It was
No,
a dumb
it was a dumb
call.
play.
That's all it comes down to.
That's the problem, is that Saban was able to read that entire play in the 30 seconds that they had in that timeout, and they hadn't even lined up for the play yet. Like, he knew it was coming. He knew exactly how to. Like, Texas A&M, that play was doomed before it even was
Right.
snapped.
Well, it's because Jim blows games.
And
Saban knew what he was going to do. He's
And-
predictable. He always has been.
And even Nick Saban said that he saw this. They did this play earlier, the same
It's the
game.
same exact formation.
So-
They scored a touchdown on it, and he said, "All right, this is exactly how we're going to finish it again." And he did exactly what he said they were going to do.
So, to answer your question, I'm concerned, but it's on a scale of a 1 to 10, 1 being not concerned, 10 being very concerned. I'm about a 6 right now for Alabama.
No, dude, I'm about a 2. If Bryce Young comes back, look, they turn the ball over like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
The quarterback is not bad. He's a talented young guy at quarterback. What's his name?
Milroe.
Yeah, but he's talented, but he turned the ball over. He didn't
Yeah.
secure the ball. He fumbled it twice, threw an interception.
He could have had
And-
2 more interceptions in this game too. After rewatching it, but
Well, we
that's,
got to credit A&M. A&M's got a good defense. I think they would have gave Bryce Young trouble. They definitely score more with Bryce Young, though.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when your field goal kicker misses 2 field goals. That game should have never been close. Bama looked for every opportunity to hand them the game and still won. We talked about Georgia last week. It's the same thing, man. Bama got out alive. That's
Right.
all that matters. And Texas is good. That Texas game wasn't a
Yeah.
coincidence. Texas is actually a good football team.
Well, I think what Dustin is trying to say here is the worry about Alabama is that they struggled against a very, very average Texas A&M team. Granted, there was no Young. They turned the ball over, yes. But you can't do – you're about to go –
Who's better, Texas A&M or Missouri, though?
No, hold on. But if you're talking about an Alabama team that's about to go to Tennessee and play on the road against a much better Tennessee team, I am definitely concerned for Alabama in that regard.
I am too. And there's
Do I think this game depicts how good Alabama is? Like, no. But if you're still making the same mistakes that you made week after week, and you go make those mistakes in Tennessee, you're going to lose that.
And
football
speaking
game.
of mistakes too, the penalties, they're ranked 122nd in the country right now in penalties and stuff like that. That keeps adding in. A lot of crucial mistakes happen at crucial moments of the game where Texas A&M, that last drive and the drive before that, like that, they were making bad
They're not
penalties there.
disciplined, that's for sure. I don't understand that
So-
because it's a Saban coach team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned with Alabama. Do I think they make the playoffs still? Yes, absolutely.
I don't know about that, dude.
I
So I
still-
don't get how you could be a 6 and still say they make
Because-
the playoff. I don't think so.
Because the standard is so high with Alabama. Being concerned means they can lose a game. Because I said they were going undefeated this season. I think they're going to
they
lose
could
a
lose
game.
multiple games.
They could
I mean,
lose multiple
Mississippi
games.
State's hot right now. Tennessee's
yeah.
hot right
Ole
now.
Miss is
Ole
hot.
Miss is hot right now.
Ole-
Georgia is hot right now.
And everyone's
I mean,
like, dude, Vandy was beating Ole Miss. And I was like, let me look at this real quick. And so I went to watch some
Then
of that
they
game.
thumped
And then it just, 52-28? Am I right on
Yeah.
that score?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it
yeah.
looked like it was headed in an upset direction, but that shows Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It would look like a near disaster. Then they dominate.
Absolutely.
So what do we got? What game do we got next? On the books.
We got TCU and Kansas. So you'd pick Kansas, I'd pick TCU. That was kind of our big one that we went up against. And really, I don't know,
really good
Kansas
game.
quarterback doesn't go out.
Dude,
This is just
Kansas was the better team in my opinion, but TCU got out alive, and I think TCU is going to keep winning.
Yes.
I think Kansas is going to keep winning too, though. That Kansas proved to me in that game, even with a loss, they brought a backup quarterback in. Most teams, they're
And he
trailing.
was good.
And he's fire. And then it comes down to at the end of the game, and I'm not even one that normally blames the referees, but the second to last play of the game looks like a horse collar. Okay, you didn't call it. Okay. Last play of the game, when it's 4th down, the game's on the line. They held the receiver, obviously, and no call. Even the announcer was like, that's
Yeah.
a hold. That's a first down. They probably score if they get that because they're tearing up that secondary. Do they win in overtime? I don't know. We can't predict that. We only know what happened. TCU deserved to win the game. Both good football teams. We could see that rematch in the Big 12 championship. And that sounds completely crazy, but they're both good enough to do it.
They are absolutely good enough. But I think right now, if we're taking who's going to be in the championship of the Big 12, I'm still going with Texas right now.
I would say Texas TCU would be my vote right now. Kansas could get Texas again, though, man. They could. It depends if Kansas can get their starter back.
Yeah,
And even if they don't.
What was his injury?
So I think it was a shoulder or something. I don't-
shoulder. What's going on with shoulder injuries right now in college football this
But
year?
it
Isn't
doesn't
so
matter. That's the thing. The backup came in and was fired.
He was fired. I don't know. So, I mean, does it really matter? I mean, what their depth chart, it just looks like, did we really lose anything going from 1 to 2? And then same thing
the
with
starter's good,
Same
but
thing with Texas Tech. Texas Tech is down to like what, their third string right now? I
They're
don't
still
think it's
playing good
dropped
football.
off. They have not dropped off at all.
you know TCU plays Oklahoma State this week, so it'll be 2 undefeateds. We'll see some undefeateds go down. That's a tough game to pick,
Yeah,
but
it's going to be really tough.
I think at the end of the day, I got to pay the consequence for picking Kansas. I'd go back and pick them again. I think they're a good team, and honestly, there was a part of me that was scared they were going to end up getting blown out.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They honestly probably should have won the game.
That game was a coin flip. In all honesty, it was like a 50-50 shot. I really didn't feel good about the TCU pick, but I wouldn't have felt good about the Kansas pick either because it's just so close. That was a fun game to watch, though. Let's move on to Michigan, Indiana.
I don't really have much to say besides that was a football game in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter. It was 17-10, and then they scored 2 more times to make it look bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Well, I think people are like discrediting Michigan a lot right now because Indiana is not such a good football team in
They're
people's
all right.
opinion. They're decent. I'd say they're mediocre. But the thing is like, dude goes down for Michigan and has a seizure, and you could tell that whole dynamic of that game just completely changed. So I'm not discrediting Michigan. You got
It's a
one.
win. I mean,
It's a
they
win.
won in not dominating fashion, but they won in clear fashion. They were the better football
Yeah.
team. And so I give Michigan. I don't think Michigan's a contender. I really don't. But we'll talk about that more in a second.
Their fate will be decided later.
When is Michigan's running backs going to start getting some Heisman credit here? Dude, that dude is on fire.
Well, he's not. When he only runs for 20 yards against Penn State this week, he won't get any credit. They're about to get butt stomped
25
against
carries
Penn
for
State.
124 yards. Sorry.
Yeah, if you look at his full season stats, it's
yeah.
incredible.
The next game, though, I think we're more excited about Tennessee at LSU. I thought LSU would in the Valley would take care of business. I really did.
Yeah, I had
I
higher
underestimated Tennessee.
I had higher hopes, but I definitely thought Tennessee was gonna. I think me and you picked Tennessee.
we
No.
both picked Tennessee, and
Y'all thought it would be close, though.
I
I
did too.
did.
Being on the road, yeah.
and I guess where we're going is with this, and this always gets you in trouble, especially with betting games, is you go on this trajectory of like looking at like matchups and things like that. And I kept visualizing LSU beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State's a good team, so I'm giving LSU a little bit more credit. LSU also beat Florida State, but you see where that's getting us. Sorry, Tyler.
No, it's okay.
But it's just so sad right now.
We'll talk about them in a minute.
Yeah, but anyway, and I'm like, LSU, I thought this would be a 10-point game.
They got
That's-
lucky against Mississippi State. Let's be honest.
I think so.
Mississippi State
I
threw
think
the
so.
game, dude. And Mississippi State's for real, though.
Yeah, Mississippi State is for real.
So is Tennessee. Honestly, even when the score was 20-7, I was like, man, LSU's still going to come back. Like, they are going to blow
Yeah.
it. I was convinced they were going to blow it. Then they just hammered down. In Death Valley, did LSU look good? No. But the
No.
part of that's the other team made them look bad.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is like, you and I both had completely bipolar, like, different ideas on our SEC East second team, our darling there.
Yeah, you had Tennessee, I had Kentucky.
I had Tennessee, you had Kentucky.
and Kentucky straight crap the bed this week, man.
Well,
what in the world?
Thank you, Sudo.
And Kentucky still could finish second in the East. I mean,
They
it's
could.
not because Tennessee still has to play. I mean, they have to play Georgia. They still have to play Alabama. They still have to play Kentucky. If Kentucky wins that matchup, they very well could. But Kentucky looked like a bad football team this week. I get it. Their quarterback's hurt.
Yeah.
But come on, man. Be deeper than that. Don't lose to South Carolina.
Yeah, the
South
whole-
Carolina
The whole
sucks.
team looked bad. It wouldn't. Yeah.
Dude,
They were horrible.
South Carolina could be a lot better if Spencer Rattler would sit in that pocket more. He keeps getting pressure.
He's got to be an albino. I just had to throw that out there, dude. You ever looked at the dude? He's got like blonde hair with red eyes.
He does creep me out a little bit. I told you he looks like Voldemort. Like every time I look.
Voldemort.
I mean, I don't mind him. He just freaks me out. I wouldn't. I mean, God, if you sack him and look him in the eye, that ends you. You might as well step off the field.
That's hilarious. But yeah, if Spencer Rattler would sit in the pocket a little bit longer instead of feeling like he's underdressed and everything, he just goes out and then I don't know. Maybe because he's short, he can't see over the offensive and defensive line. I don't know, but I feel like if he just took some time, let the plays develop a little bit, because it seems like his receivers are getting enough separation where he can make some good chunk plays there. But we haven't really seen that from him because he's just he just looks nervous
And
out
South
there.
Carolina is 4-2 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think they're going to improve, and I mean they're going to end up being a decent football team.
Their running back's good. Marshawn Lloyd is just
I wouldn't
killer,
count them
dude.
out. I really wouldn't. I mean, I was surprised by the performance this week. Was it due to Kentucky being bad this week, just having an off week? Because here's the Kentucky problem, and we've seen it the last few years, and I said this. If they get through Ole Miss, I think they're going to be undefeated when they play Georgia. But if they don't, I think it's going to be a downward trajectory. They didn't get through Ole Miss. They blew it. They should have.
Yep.
It's a downward trajectory now. And it's happened every year. They always lose like 2 or 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom when they lose a game.
Yep.
Mark Stoops, you've got to fix that, bro. And that's because y'all still look at yourself as this weak program. And so when you lose, you don't know how to bounce back.
Right.
Alabama, they lose to A&M. I guarantee you we'd be sitting here talking about how they're going to beat the mess out of Tennessee because they're ticked off. You don't know why? Because they're a good football team that bounces back.
Yeah.
Kentucky doesn't do it. They're not an elite program yet. I thought they were heading in that direction. Very disappointed with them. But, I mean, South Carolina took care of business. Arkansas at Mississippi State.
Mississippi State's great. Arkansas is just spiraling out of control.
Are they? Or is it just the competition? Because I think Mississippi State's just that good.
I think it's a
If they don't bounce back against BYU this week,
They ain't going to.
then I think they're just completely just going downhill.
I don't know that they beat BYU. I think that's going to be a tight game, but I don't really know.
BYU's got to come back because BYU lost to Notre Dame this week.
Yeah, I
That's
had
something else.
Notre Dame in that one. I thought Notre Dame would pull it out.
Yeah, I did too.
But yeah, Mississippi State played good, dominated the game. I think Mississippi State's a legitimate SEC West contender. That LSU loss is going to hurt them because they still have to play Georgia and Bama.
Yes.
I think they could beat one of them. Don't know that they could beat both of them.
No.
The dream scenario would be not dream. I don't want them to beat Georgia. Obviously, I'm a Georgia fan. But if they did beat Georgia and beat Alabama, and then Georgia rematch them in the SEC title, that would be awesome.
That would be fun.
Don't think it will happen, but it'd be cool. Anyway, Missouri at Florida.
I took Florida just because of home field advantage. This is another
Yeah,
coin
because
flip
you're
game.
a Gators fan, man.
No, it's because they're at Florida this year.
I know you love the Gators.
So that game, I didn't really watch a lot of that game, but
I watched most of that game.
Yeah.
Florida's offense is anemic. It's still not good.
Not good.
It's not good. Richardson. I don't know at what point, if you even have anything worth even trying. At this point, I would just explore some more options.
Yeah.
I mean, you're winning obviously, but are you really winning?
Yeah, I mean, they play LSU this week, too, so
Yeah.
they want to step
It's
up.
just two kind of awkward football teams trying to make some headway.
You know, are we not a little impressed with Missouri, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm a
they
little,
looked
yeah.
horrible the first 2 weeks, and you were
Yeah.
like, this is a bad football team. Then they almost beat Georgia. And honestly, they were in the game against Florida. They were driving down the field to tie the game and choked it away. But
they're running a Nebraska Scott Frost team right now. Like they're going to be the best 3-9 team at the end of the year.
they'll upset some people. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that was just two all right football teams playing. Florida got out alive. I kind of thought Missouri would get the win there. They didn't, though. Not surprised, though. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't high, like, oh, Missouri's good. It was just more like Missouri played Georgia good. I think that they'll mess Richardson up. And they did.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, but they did enough.
Missouri lost and had almost 80 more yards of total offense than Florida did. Like
Turnovers, man.
Both teams only had 2 turnovers apiece. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, Florida's offense just didn't impress. They looked awful.
Yeah.
Their defense is
That was
decent, though. I mean, I got to give –
Well, yeah, that's the only reason they won that game. I think is because the defense they didn't. And Missouri made a bunch of terrible decisions with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Just some really bad decisions overall. It was a hard game to watch.
Texas at Oklahoma. Hook 'em horns, man. Oklahoma's trash. Brent Venables, you need to go back to Clemson, dude.
God.
Even though you might not have a job because that defense is looking good over at
Yeah,
Clemson.
Oklahoma-
You're horrible, bro.
Oklahoma fans are really disturbed, and they're going to take They can dish it out, but they can't take it right now. Oklahoma fans are miserable right now.
And Brent Venables he creeps me out too, man. He needs to get Spencer Rattler back. God, and whenever Venables is on the sidelines about to tack the field and his guys pulling him back, it's just so aggressive. I mean, dude, well, maybe he needs more aggression because that team sucks.
Yes, that's the biggest problem with them. They're not aggressive at all, and I don't know if it's
Defense
because
is horrible.
and we could go back and Lincoln Riley left that place in a dumpster fire and took the best players. They only took two
Oklahoma,
offensive
man.
players, Mario Williams and Caleb Williams, and I don't think they took any defensive players to USC with them. I could be wrong if.
Even if they did, the defense sucked. So what difference does it make?
I just don't know what to think about this right now, other than he just looks so bad. But I'm like, did we see an improvement next year? First year coaches sometimes suck. Steve Spurrier, for instance, sucked his first year. Let's talk about
First year where?
At Florida. He was terrible his first year at Florida.
Dude, that was like before you were
I know,
alive,
but I'm
bro.
trying to talk about
How do
great,
you know that?
great coaches who ended up sucking their first year. Nick Saban, Louisiana Monroe, did he lose that game? I think that was
Different situation, though. Alabama was a bad football program when he took it over. Oklahoma they're a good football program. They've won 11 games
But it's
every
not
year.
like Urban Meyer taking over a loaded Jim Tressel team at Ohio State. It's not that. It's not even close to that. Lincoln Riley.
No, I'm not saying it's that, but there's a difference, too. He took over a loaded Jim Tressel team that went undefeated.
Yeah.
Brent Venables, they're going to go 3-9, dude. They might not win a Big 12 game.
It's looking
I don't
ugly.
see who they beat in the Big 12. Texas, though.
Yes, Quinn Ewers. I'm going to catch some crap for this, what I'm about to say. Quinn Ewers is the best quarterback in college football right now.
Close.
I've only seen him 6 quarters, and I'm making this statement already, but dude is putting the ball exactly where it needs to be.
Against a bad
He had-
defense, though. TCU
I
did the
know.
same thing to him.
As far as Oklahoma goes, really fast before we talk about the rest of Texas, but the rest of their schedule being Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, they very well could lose all of those games.
Yeah.
Exactly. They might be West Virginia, but I doubt it.
And at what point? I mean, I know it's hard to say that somebody's on the hot seat year one.
He's on the hot seat,
But,
dude.
dude, you're on the hot seat.
It's how they're losing.
Yeah, it's exactly.
It's how if you lose 49 to nothing.
You got shut out.
I'm going to the bathroom and fingering my tonsils after this game because I'm so sick
That was
in
the
my head.
creepiest thing you've ever said.
It
I
is
did not
just-
know where that was going at all. Like, what in the
I'm
world?
trying to be
hanging
like
on
Spencer
to-
Rattler and Brent Venables right now because
God.
it's so creepy. Dude, like,
should
I'm
hang
going
out
to the
with
bathroom and throwing up after that game. You lost to your arch rival 49 to nothing. Like, it just
But
is
it's
sickening.
It's not just one performance. The week before, you get the brakes beat out of you by freaking TCU. It's like they are back. Enough about Oklahoma. They're not even relevant. They're not even worth talking about.
Texas.
Texas is back.
585 yards of total offense. That is insane.
Here-
That's
you wanna hear-
insane.
Here's
How many
the
of those
thing.
are passing yards, though?
No, it's just total yards. It's just
What's the
pass.
passing yards?
He threw for 289.
See, I just thought it was more than that.
Get used to it, guys. Texas is back. Texas is going to win out. Texas is going to win the Big 12. Texas might even end up in the college football playoff.
With 2
I'm
losses.
telling you, get used to it. Yes, with 2 losses.
Here's a quick question about Texas's future. What does Manning do when he gets there? Do you think he wants to go and sit a year?
He ain't going to go there, man.
Do you think that he's going to find somewhere else to go?
Yeah,
So-
Ewers is the man.
So just so everyone knows, this is Quinn Ewers is a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Yes. So
You start getting him.
2 more years, and then Archie. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he only has to play 1 more year because he's redshirt.
But I'm saying, if you start building, this team the way you want it to, and you start keeping these players, why would you break up that continuity with bringing in a different quarterback?
That dude is overrated anyway, dude.
I think so,
Ewers
too.
is better than Manning. He's a
I'm
Manning.
not
That's the
speaking,
problem.
I'm not speaking to the fact that I think Manning is a better quarterback, 'cause we clearly won't know that. But it's just a simple fact of thinking, like, Texas has kind of built the recruiting around, oh, we got Manning.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. Ewers is your dude. Run
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
He is.
But
a
Manning's
dude.
not going to sit behind this guy. No
So
way.
does Texas win the Big 12?
I think so. I'd put money on it.
I don't.
I probably would too, and I
putting
hate
money
to
on it.
say it. I mean, Jordan, I hate saying it, dude.
If you
Your
asked me
team
2
is
weeks
looking
ago-
good.
If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said no.
But the thing is, with Ewers, they're probably undefeated right
That
now.
guy, yeah, I agree. Jordan said the same thing. I agree. The dude is it. I mean, he doesn't get hurt in that Bama game. They very well.
Unless
could.
Kansas takes them out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a tight.
The Big
finish.
12 is so crazy right now, but I've never said anything so confidently in my life. I think Texas wins the Big 12.
They're back.
I think
They're back.
so
And-
good.
And that means they're competitive. Not that they're going to win the national championship, which I don't want them to make the college football playoff. That's a scary football team. That game against Alabama was for real.
Could you imagine? Just think about this: like a Texas versus Alabama rematch in the college football playoff.
Texas beats them if they play again. If they played this week, Texas would have beat their brains in.
I've been saying that fourth spot is open. You could easily get some kind of 1 or 2 loss team in that fourth spot.
That fourth spot.
All right,
So Auburn, Georgia.
Georgia dominant. I mean, they impressed. There's really not much to say. They ran the ball down their throat. Stetson Bennett did look like crap. But other than that, I felt like Georgia was a dominant team on
Well, they
Saturday.
went back old school like they should have been doing a long time ago. They found a way to run the ball, and I know
A long time ago. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks.
Well, no, I'm talking about like yeah, I guess you can
We
say
need
that.
to sling it around the yard too, man.
Yeah, so we're running the ball really well. Dejon Edwards looks incredible. I think Branson Robinson's doing pretty well. I feel like they need to take the inside track. I saw some running lanes open in that game where they just weren't taking them and they were just going to the outside, and it really didn't make a lot of sense to me. But that comes with
What is that? Is it Robertson?
Robinson.
Robinson?
Yeah.
That is a bad man.
No, he's bad. Yeah, he needs to move up in the depth chart. But at what point? Like Kenny McIntosh keeps getting hurt, dude.
Kenny McIntosh.
He's
gotta
as fragile
go,
as
bro.
JT Daniels. Like
Let's give it
that
to
dude-
Robinson.
I-
man.
I know this sounds odd, and we're running the ball. Yes, Georgia scored. Georgia won handedly. This is the 3rd week that Stetson has not thrown a touchdown pass. I know it's not a big concern to a lot of people, but he's missing people either high or low or behind.
Mainly
he just
high.
looks off.
It's
and I
horrible.
can't figure it out. I don't know what the heck is going on at practice.
It reminds me of the Jake Fromm decline in
yes,
2019,
yes,
where
yeah.
Jake Fromm
Exactly
just
what I
lit
said.
it up.
That is
and then all of a
exactly what I
sudden, then we found out later that Jake Fromm was hurt. His arm was hurt the whole time, and that was the decline. No one would say that because they didn't want.
Sure.
But you found out after the season. So it's something going on with Stetson that we don't know about.
Yeah,
is my question.
It just he doesn't look comfortable. I don't know. Like I said, we won't know until maybe the end of the season if we even will find out. But he looks off. He looks behind. Nobody looks in sync. But no touchdown passes in 3 games is
Could this be?
not concerning. But it's a little asterisk next to that stat.
Could this be a situation where Kirby Smart is simply just and Todd Monken are just trying to change the offense in a way because people know Georgia's play
No.
calling
I
and
don't think
stuff like
they're.
that?
I think
Or-
we want to say that, but I don't think they're like they don't look like they're doing anything differently. I think they're just not hitting on certain plays, and that could be accredited to some of the defensive schemes because Georgia's offense has been out there now. People know how to play against them.
Yeah.
They see what works. I mean, obviously Kent State and Missouri were doing.
And we need the wide receivers need to step up too.
Right,
Lad
exactly.
McConkey, what is going on with McDonkey? The
McDonkey.
dude is.
He finally made some things happen this week. He played a little better, but then again, like I said, it's a mixture between 2 things. You start getting to the rhythm of missing throws or overthrowing receivers.
Yeah.
Receivers dropping the ball. You start going 3 and out. You start turning the ball, basically
Yeah.
giving the ball back, and that's exactly what's happened. But I mean, we won the game.
Handedly. And Dogs move up to number 1 in the country. I think they proved themselves. Which leads us to Utah UCLA. I think this was probably the biggest shocker of the week.
Was it though?
Because it's not how UCLA won. I had UCLA winning the game.
But they were
I'm
dominant.
sorry, it's not that they won, it's how they won.
Yeah.
They did it in dominating fashion. I was very impressed with UCLA. That is one of the most shocking games of the week. What beats it? I mean,
I mean, they win 42-32. I just don't
but
think
they were up 17.
I don't think Utah is as good defensively as they were last year, and it's going to show.
I don't know. I think they are, man. I think they're gonna beat USC this week, and show us again. I think we're gonna turn around next week and be like, Utah's a good team, you know. So you're right. We gotta find when they play USC next week. We'll find out what Utah's made of. If they
But-
beat USC, UCLA's dangerous, dude.
USC has not been impressing me that much the past couple of weeks.
They're undefeated.
They're undefeated, but they're just not playing as well as I expected them to. Like, they started off strong, but now it seems like we're going to a
They
downhill
haven't
spiral.
impressed me all year. They just started playing better teams.
I think that
This
might
is
be the
Lincoln
case.
Riley's MO, though, man. He always does this. Somehow he wins, and he wins, and he wins. He's a good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it, but
Jordan, they've had a hard time getting Jordan Addison open. Everybody's
well, he's
covering
hurt
him.
now, so that's a big deal.
That's a big deal too. So we'll see how that plays out. Very impressed with UCLA.
I like the Bruins, man.
I-
Last week we counted them out because of their schedule.
Well, no, that's
Do we
the thing.
bring them back and say UCLA is a contender possibly?
It could be, but every week we go through this same Pac-12 discussion, and we're like, all right, it's Oregon this week. It's Utah. It's USC. Now we're
Oregon?
talking about UCLA.
Oregon looks great.
It's one of those.
Yeah, UCLA plays at Oregon next week.
That's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
So-
I
or in
was
2
sold-
weeks,
I was
maybe.
more
Yeah,
sold
week
on
8.
More sold on Utah last week specifically because of the fact that it was a must-win for them.
Yeah.
To kind of save their season but continue their season. But UCLA look great.
Yeah. Jay, what is it? Oh, I forgot. DR. I've already forgot the quarterback's name. He's got an acronym for him. But
Thompson Robinson.
Thompson Robinson.
DTR. That's it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
DTR. Yeah.
Down the road.
So what? So next game, Ohio State and Michigan State. Ohio State moved up to number 2 in the country. Their win wasn't impressive. I mean, they did good, but they dominated. But Michigan State secondary is horrible.
I thought this game was going to be in the 50s for Ohio State to score.
49-20 is, I mean, it's a good performance. They covered the spread right at it, but I mean, I think Ohio State's good. Honestly, Ohio State is the team that absolutely has played all trash teams this year, though.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was the only decent team, and they didn't look that good against them.
Looking at this game, looking at the final score of this game, the touchdown that Michigan State had at the end of the game was just garbage touchdown.
Yeah.
This game
Yeah.
was won handedly by halftime. Like it just
Yeah.
they dominated Michigan State. Michigan State is not a good football team.
They've been dominated the last 3 weeks.
So you really have to look at that 2 different ways. Like you can't look at the final score, but they put 20 on Ohio State. No.
So, like-
Michigan State's a bad football team.
So Michigan State, they haven't had a Power 5 win yet.
They're bad.
So when do they get one?
They
At
might
Rutgers?
not.
Rutgers,
No.
maybe?
No.
Rutgers
I
doesn't
don't know
look.
if they beat Rutgers.
I don't
So
think they
that's-
beat Rutgers. Mel Tucker's in trouble, man. He gets a big contract, and he's cruising now. He's trying to get fired, I guess. I don't know.
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. They returned a fair amount of starters.
They did
did
return
they
a
not?
lot. That's
Yeah.
why I'm
No, they were
like-
supposed to be good.
That's the first big red flag when it comes to coaching. Like I had always thought highly of Mel Tucker, but my God, man, you can't fall that far. That's awful.
Yeah.
So what about UNC at Miami? We won't spend long on this one. North Carolina keeps winning though.
Yeah,
that one loss to Notre Dame. North Carolina's 5-1, and this week their defense actually looked good. Their defense won them the game.
That sure did.
Gene Chizik has the defense kind of cruising. I think North Carolina is going to win the Coastal side and play in the ACC championship. I really do.
I think so, as much as I hate to say it.
And they're dangerous. If their offense gets going, North Carolina is a dangerous football team.
Yes.
I don't think they'll win the national title, but they could sneak up on some. I mean, like if they visited Clemson in the ACC title, they could sneak up on a Clemson
Chaos.
because Wake Forest gave Clemson a lot of trouble with the same offense.
Yep.
I mean, if you had to put UNC playing Clemson this week, I'm going to take UNC. I'm going to take.
Where's
UNC.
it at? At UNC or at Clemson?
Hold on, let me check.
If it's at UNC,
Well, they don't play this week. He's just saying if they were.
They
playing.
don't play.
sorry.
They
I
only
thought you
play
meant
in the.
schedule.
They would
At
only,
UNC, I'd lean towards UNC. I would.
Clemson close game.
At Clemson, I think Clemson wins. Clemson's a different team at
Close.
home.
Um,
Clemson did not look that. Clemson at Boston College was their next game. They looked. I mean, they took care of business. Boston College had opportunity to be in that game, but that is a horrible football team.
That's a really bad.
It's a horrible football team.
yeah, last week we were kind of convinced. We were like, okay, well maybe they aren't as bad as we think
They
they
beat
are.
Louisville. Louisville
And then-
sucks too.
Yeah, and Louisville is out. Doesn't have Malik Cunningham now.
The
or
dang
anything.
ACC is slowly falling apart. It's pissing me off.
Yeah, I know. It's
bad.
I was so hyped at the beginning of the season. I was like, yes, they're going to be competitive.
Yeah.
And they're slowly proving me wrong.
Yeah, and it looks like. Here's the thing, guys. Wake Forest, and this is off topic, but Wake Forest is looking good. Like they have beat the after they lost to Clemson the last 2 weeks. Have y'all seen their scores? They beat Army this week like 45-10.
Right.
Beat their brain. Like where did their defense come from? They beat Florida State last week handedly.
What do they have? One loss right now?
No, they're 5-1. Their only
They're
loss
5
was to Clemson in overtime. They're going to keep moving up in the rankings. I mean, God. But the problem is, all hope is lost because Clemson has to lose 2 ACC games
Yeah.
for them to get in the ACC title, and that ain't happening. Washington State at USC. USC,
But whatever. I mean, I figured USC would win. I mean, it
I
wasn't
thought they were on
anything-
upset alert, but they didn't impress.
No, I mean, what was the score of that?
I think
game?
it was they won by a couple possessions. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
I'm looking for it here. I can't find it. But anyway,
Then I mean, their next one's Notre Dame at BYU. Notre Dame, I think, is playing good football now. Clemson plays at Notre Dame later in the year. That's starting to look like a game.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame's turning around. We
Yeah.
were hard on Notre Dame at first when they started 0-2, and we're like, man, this team's going to end up going 4-8. They suck.
yeah. I mean, especially when you lose to Marshall like they did. How they finished that game, it's just like
Then they
this
beat.
team just looks completely out of sync. They look bad on all 3 sides of the football. I'm like, dude.
Now they're rolling, though. They beat
They're-
North Carolina, and now they beat BYU.
Yeah.
Both pretty handedly. Like, BYU got back in the game at the end, but honestly, it was like 28-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel good about Notre Dame. Don't get me wrong, they're not a contender or anything. I'm just saying I think that they're going to give some teams trouble, like a Clemson.
Right.
I mean, last week I was saying they were going to kind of bring themselves back together. You know, they're
Yeah.
going to start playing better football.
Right.
You're off to a rock star. You got a tough schedule. They're not going to do anything. They just may upset a few people.
Great week, though.
It was a fun week.
Great games.
But this week is going to be better because there's like 11 games that I have to watch, and I don't know how I'm going to watch them all. But
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend.
I don't know if like we should all just come together and tell our wives to go somewhere and just like you bring your laptop, I bring my laptop. We have a TV going on here. Tyler brings the monitors in his living room where we've got
Got, like,
Buffalo
6
Wild
games
Wings
going.
going on.
I have the potential to have at least 6 games going on.
6 games going on.
We can do that.
We can
That
do
would
that
be fun,
because
man.
the 3:30 slate, it's just like boom, 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 and it just keeps going. Let me pull up next week's schedule since we're on that topic now.
It's nuts.
It is nuts because I was looking at like the 3:30 timeline.
Yeah, that's a problem. Is like there's so many good games at the same time.
And
it makes
it
so
kind of
hard.
drops off when it gets to like the 7 o'clock games and all that. But like let's hit. Should I start at the beginning of just notating games, or should I just go to 3:30?
Well, I mean, Penn State at Michigan's going to be a good game.
That's gonna be a good game.
One undefeated goes down there.
I mean, I'm intrigued with Auburn Ole Miss, but I'm probably not going to watch it.
Minnesota, Illinois is intriguing.
Yes,
I mean-
Iowa State, Texas. Texas is going to win, but I want to watch that game
Iowa
because
State
Texas,
has a good defense, though, man.
Illinois, and Minnesota.
Yeah, that's
Another good game. So these are all 12 o'clock games. Let's keep going down the list.
Alabama, Tennessee at 3:30.
Look, that's when the things get crazy.
It's
'Cause
crazy.
You have 3 marquee games at that same time.
Oklahoma State at TCU, NC State at Syracuse, Arkansas at BYU. Dear God, what am I going to do at 3:30?
And
I don't really care that much about Arkansas at BYU.
I'm not going to watch the Georgia game at all.
I probably.
I'm watching every second of it. Dude.
You know,
I'll
we
never
said
miss a
that. We
Georgia
said
game.
that at Kent State. We
Said
were
Kent
like,
State.
all right, we got to.
Yeah, we got to turn this on. Dude, I'm totally kidding. I'm going to have to watch the Georgia
We
game.
were
But,
watching like 2 other games. Like, yeah, we should probably.
but it hurts because I really want to watch that Alabama Tennessee. That is the best matchup this week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It has potential to be. Syracuse game's big, too. Syracuse,
that's a
NC
great
State. I mean, here's the thing, though, which kind of leads us to the question. With all these marquee matchups, we have a group of undefeated teams so far. Last week we talked about 15. Now we're down to 14 because Kansas fell. So what? Pull up that list of undefeated teams. Go back to the spreadsheet, bro.
Oh, the spreadsheet. All right.
So we got a few undefeated. So here's my question to you, Georgia. If Georgia were to lose, where do they lose?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'm more on the at Mississippi State. If they
Tennessee's
lose.
a home game, I don't think they'll lose. Mississippi State would. I think I had Mississippi State penciled early if Georgia's going to lose the game.
But would you bet on them going undefeated?
I bet on
Georgia going
undefeated.
undefeated? Yeah.
I say Georgia wins out. Ohio State. Where do they lose?
They don't.
They don't unless they lose to Michigan.
At Penn State.
You're still on that. You're still on
No,
that.
Ohio State has
I'm
not.
not-
Literally,
No,
they've played
I
nobody
agree
so
with
far.
you.
We have no
I've
grid
just-
for them.
I've tried really hard this year to try to go on a week by week basis on how I see teams until I see, like, especially Penn State, until I see them really like get down and dirty. I mean,
Like beat Michigan this week.
This
That
week-
might be convincing.
This is when I can start to look down the road and say, okay, all right, Ohio State has the potential to lose here and lose to possibly Michigan or I say now Michigan comes out this game and blows the brakes off, or blows the doors off of Penn State. We may have a different conversation about what we think about Michigan.
Yeah. Either way, if
So-
Michigan dominates Penn State or Penn State dominates Michigan, I think we're all going to be like,
This is where I stopped paying attention mostly. Like week 7 is where if you're not ranked at this point, like I don't care about you because you simply are just out of the conversation at this point. It is going to be impossible for a team that's been ranked to climb back in now. But at this stage, you're able to look immediately and go, okay, you've got two teams like Michigan and Penn State, and can they be contenders and take out one of these other teams? Because they got to play both. So Ohio State is probably looking ahead too. I mean, they don't have anybody this week, do they?
I mean, they never play anybody. The Big Ten is a horrible conference right now.
It really is.
It's bad.
I think they're off this week.
I think they play Penn State next week. So
Yeah, I
Penn
think they have
State.
a bye week this
So
week.
I'll say this.
So they're sitting at home watching that game.
At Penn State is a dangerous game. Even if Penn State doesn't look good that week, Penn State always plays Ohio State good at Penn State. And they always play them good regardless. So I think that will be a tight ball game. So y'all both say Ohio State goes undefeated. I'm saying they slip up one.
I think they can they go undefeated? I think I'm higher on them going undefeated than I am getting upset. I will have a different opinion next week.
I got you.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with
So-
Tyler. Just let's see how this Michigan Penn State game plays out, and let's see you got
I'm with
two
you, yeah.
really good teams right here. Let's see who's better, or if they're kind of on equal playing fields. We're gonna know more after
I'm probably
this week.
70-30 them going undefeated. 70% them winning.
I'm
out,
about
30
50-50. I'm not
30%.
sure.
I said that number will most definitely change next week based on how. But now, if Michigan and Penn State come out and they both play like miserable games, and one team just kind of squeaks by, I'm probably going to be still 70.
Right.
But it's so hard to judge week to week, too.
No, it is hard. It is hard.
So
But-
with Georgia, I'm probably about 70-30. Georgia will go undefeated. With Ohio State, I'm about 50-50, which is pretty high. Like, I think they could go undefeated in the regular season. Bama, where do they slip up? Do they finish? First, do y'all think they go undefeated?
There's a lot
12-0.
I don't think so. I think,
Me neither. I don't think so either.
I think there's a chance that
They lose this weekend.
they have. This is their gauntlet. I know we don't think very highly of Auburn, but if they somehow play these,
no one did
games-
last year either.
No,
Yeah.
if they somehow play bad throughout this stretch of games, I mean, the only exception in their schedule is Austin Peay. They can lose some of these games. I mean, you go Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Ole Miss, Austin Peay, and then Auburn. That you're going to lose one of those games. I don't see any way around it.
I don't think they lose to Tennessee only because I think everyone is now starting to expect that to happen, and I just think they'll turn up. I kind of think that silent loss could be Mississippi State.
Yeah,
The way
absolutely.
Mississippi State's playing right now, dude, they're lights out. If they play like they are right now, I'm scared for Georgia too.
I want to know with Bama, like Bryce Young dressed out, but he never played. Is he going to play this week?
He's playing this week, dude.
So-
He's playing.
The good thing about the way Georgia has the rest of their season set up is that Alabama has to play both of those teams before Georgia does. So if Alabama somehow beats both of those teams are going to be down by the time they get to play Georgia.
Yeah.
But if one of those teams beats Alabama, Georgia better be on notice because
I'll
they're-
bet Bama to win.
The problem is Mississippi State put themselves in a bad situation by blowing that game to LSU.
Yeah,
Because
true.
even if they beat Alabama at this point and they lose to Georgia, they're still not going to win the West.
No.
You know, because unless Alabama loses to Tennessee, then they beat them. I don't see Alabama losing two. I think they'll go 11-1.
Well, that's where it puts Alabama. I mean, Mississippi State kind of, I won't say out of the picture, but they're just going to end up playing spoiler. I feel like, and they have the potential to do that.
I'm about 20% chance Bama goes undefeated, 80% they do not, but I think they'll go 11-1. I don't think they're going to lose more than one game.
No, I don't think they'll lose more than one game. It's between Tennessee and Mississippi State. Same with Georgia, Tennessee and Mississippi State. Like really, those are the two. Both of those teams, when they play these Tennessee and Mississippi State, that's where I can see them losing up.
So Clemson's right now the number 4 team. I'd say I'm about 20% they go undefeated, 80 they do not.
I'm flip flop mine. I think the 20% they could lose to. I think they could lose to Notre Dame.
At Florida State this weekend is going to be critical.
That's
I think
another
Florida
great
State's pretty
game
good.
that's coming up. I mean, I don't really know. It's kind of hard to see because Clemson's been so up and down.
Yeah.
The first half of this Boston College game, they didn't play so well, and then they took over. Same with that's how they've been doing all this year. Can we get a full game with Clemson to play good in all 4 quarters?
Well, and my thing is, I think Clemson going undefeated has a lot to do with this weekend. If they take care at Florida State, because I think as much as Florida State's lost 2 games in a row, they are going to be ready at Florida State this weekend.
Yes.
They are going to show up and play. And that is not a bad football team. It's really not. Like, they should have beat NC State. They were better than NC State.
Yep.
They didn't win, though. Wake Forest was better than them, but also Wake Forest took Clemson to the wire.
Did we talk about the end of that game, the Florida State game this week?
No, we have not.
Okay,
Yeah.
Florida State. That's the dumbest play call I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yep, that was another.
The Seminole 8-yard line. Travis throws. Left side, lofts it, and Boykin's there to pick it off. Wow!
Just does a great job of playing over the top. Remember the inside fade? Well, it's Boykin going out and playing over the top, and so not allowing for the throw down the field or the back shoulder fade. Basically runs the route better than Pittman, and that is a heck of a play. It's learning from a play earlier in the game.
Bad
Game
ending
was-
to
you
bad.
had the game. Well, I don't know. They shouldn't have lost that game. Either way,
They had plenty of time to do several.
they were the
like,
better. And they could have kicked a field goal to win the game.
Right
What were
there.
they doing?
So statistically, Clemson and FSU are pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very good chance that Clemson slips up on this game.
Dude,
There is a very good chance that Clemson slips up on this game. Clemson allows a lot of passing yards a game. I think 255 or something like that. You let Florida State go down the field on you, you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
Man, my problem is with Travis, the quarterback. I'm just not a believer, man. Put
No,
in the
I'm not
backup,
either. I'm not
Peyton
either.
Manning,
I want the
backup
backup.
guy. That guy's fire. What's his name?
The quarterback?
I
Or-
forget.
The backup quarterback.
I can't remember. I know Jordan Travis is the starter.
It's something weird, like Noel something. It's something funny. Like it's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
weird.
We'll call him
But
Preston.
so Clemson has at Florida State. They have at Notre Dame. They play Syracuse. And Syracuse, we're going to learn a lot about this week.
Yes.
If they beat NC State, they might be a real contender. You know? So, and then Clemson also, South Carolina's sneaking up, playing good football.
And that's.
I think they at least drop one.
This
I'm
Florida-
not saying they're out of the playoff. I think they go 11-1 though.
This Florida State game's a night game, by the way. It's 7:30. So, ooh,
Vegas
Florida
doesn't
State
even
at
think
night.
very highly of Clemson. This game.
6.5 points, aren't they?
4.
4. It was 6.5 earlier, dude. So the bettors are going towards Florida State.
4 points.
Ooh.
So what do we got? Who's the next team? Michigan. I mean, this week to Penn State.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're not going undefeated.
They're not-
I'm about
I-
1% undefeated, 99%
Michigan
no.
has not looked good. They have not looked good at all. But
I give him the benefit of the doubt this week of what happened on the field, and I hope that dude's all right. That had that seizure.
I mean,
but
yeah. Regardless, though, it doesn't matter. Indiana's
they struggled against Maryland, and then did Purdue beat Maryland?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Maryland's not a bad team, though.
and Purdue only had 4 rush yards in that game.
Michigan's going to lose to Ohio State for sure. I don't see a way they beat Ohio State. I think if Ohio State loses, it has to be Penn State if they lose at all. Just because they're going to clobber Michigan, man. I hate that, but it is what it is.
Rivalry games just have a different dynamic, and you can see it every year. I mean, Auburn last year, they should have won that game against Alabama, but Alabama finds a way to win.
I mean, Penn State's looked decent down the road. I mean, other than Auburn, they really haven't.
The best rivalry game at the end of the season is the Egg Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the Egg Bowl.
So what about Tennessee? Y'all love Tennessee. No way they go undefeated, though. 0% chance.
Absolutely not.
No, they
Absolutely
got a brutal schedule. I mean, with Georgia and Alabama.
And
10-2 is realistic. I will say that 10-2 is realistic.
yeah, because they could upset Alabama.
I think
I don't
they
think they'll
win-
beat Georgia.
I think they win one of the 2 games.
And then
So-
they lose to another random team like a
Yes.
Kentucky or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So here's the rest of their schedule. Alabama, Tennessee Martin, Kentucky, Georgia,
at Georgia,
Missouri, South Carolina.
at South Carolina.
I mean, that's brutal right there. And then, of course, at Vanderbilt. to end
The scenario
season.
for Tennessee is they either lose both games against Georgia and Alabama. Those are the only two losses that they have, or
Yeah.
they're winning one of them and losing to some other team. that
So like
they probably
Kentucky or
shouldn't-
South Carolina.
that they probably shouldn't have no business.
Regardless.
Or they lose to both of them and then one more team. They could still go.
They can still go 9-3. I just 10-2 is realistic.
Worst case scenario is 9-3, but 10-2 looks very likely right now, in my opinion.
I think so.
I mean, worst case is 8-4.
Either way, Tennessee's looking down the barrel.
That means they would have to
Best season they've
lose
had
to
in a long
either South Carolina
But
or
I'm
Missouri.
saying if they lose to Alabama and they get their soul taken away, and then Kentucky takes them out, then Georgia takes them out. Those are three teams that could beat them. Two of them probably will.
time. Alabama's a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under is 65.5.
Yeah. I mean, but I think Tennessee probably goes 10-2. I'm saying at worst 8-4, at best probably 11-1.
I've got a slight hunch that I really think Tennessee's going to win this weekend, but I think they're going to drop it to Kentucky. As much as I hate to say it,
That's what I'm saying. Kentucky,
I don't know.
we can't count Kentucky out yet.
yeah,
But
that's
our-
going to give Will Levis enough time to fix his finger. All right, whatever.
USC is next, right? Undefeated. I say they stumble to Utah this weekend at Utah. I think USC goes down. I think there's a 1% chance they go undefeated, 99% chance they do not go 12-0 in my opinion.
I have to look at their schedule.
I know they play UCLA and I know they play Utah,
I'm gonna stick.
They don't play Oregon.
I'm gonna stick with USC this week.
but undefeated.
Oh, undefeated? Oh no.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's about a 1% chance, in my opinion,
With-
they go undefeated.
All right, so
they
at
still
Utah, Arizona, Cal, Colorado, UCLA, and then Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame's looking better.
They're on the rise.
Yeah,
They could
No
lose
way.
2 or 3 games.
those last two games are going to be tough. Regardless of how UCLA's season plays out, those are going to be tough games to play.
So we're saying USC is a big negative.
Yeah, not undefeated, no.
Yeah.
Will they win this week? I'm going to pick them to win this week.
Toss up. Oklahoma State, big no. The Big 12's too tough, man.
No way.
I think they play. Who do they play this weekend?
TCU.
They play TCU. I think they lose this weekend.
It's going to be a good game.
chance.
I think it's another 3:30 game. Is it another 3:30 game?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's got to play Texas, Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State.
Yeah, I'd say
Oklahoma's to win, but
1% chance, 99 they don't.
yeah, they're not going undefeated.
Ole Miss.
If they go undefeated, I'm scared of them.
What about Ole Miss though?
Ole Miss undefeated? No
No.
chance. No chance.
I'd say there's
No.
a higher chance Ole Miss wins out than Oklahoma State though. I mean,
How many undefeated teams are left in the SEC West right now? Is it just Bama and
you're,
Ole Miss?
you're looking at the list, bro.
Yeah,
I see, right.
Bama and
It's
Ole Miss.
Bama and Ole Miss, yeah,
Yeah,
and then
Bama.
Georgia and Tennessee are on the other side.
Yeah, so they have LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi State. They're going to lose to most likely Alabama and Mississippi State.
But I'm saying like
Can they?
realistically, I'd say they have more of a chance than Oklahoma State. They don't go undefeated though.
Looking at them at the beginning of the season and looking at their schedule, there's no way I would have said undefeated. No chance. But looking
They're looking
at 6-0, man, that's
You're halfway there.
exceeding expectations. Granted, they haven't played but one solid team so far, but
So are they a playoff contender? Just a quick yes or no.
they're just the way that the West is set up. There's no.
I agree. I don't
It,
think
it
so.
would take too much for them to be a contender, unfortunately.
Our next undefeated is Penn State. Where do they lose? Or do they have a chance of going undefeated?
No,
I don't think they have a chance.
Well, I think there's a chance if they beat Michigan this week and upset Ohio State. Who's going to beat them?
That's a lot to ask for them.
I don't think Michigan's that good, man.
I don't know.
I think they're going to beat up
I
on
don't
Michigan.
either, but I don't know if I think the Penn State is much better.
But I'm kind of more. I feel like Penn State since week 1 has been. They've dominated every one of their games. I mean, Northwestern game was ugly. They won 17-7, but they turned the ball over like 5 times. It was a horrible game. So I see they look terrible there. But other than that, and Purdue's not a bad team. They went to Purdue on opening night and beat them. And
Yeah.
I told you, once they got over the hump, they'd keep the ball rolling. I mean, I'd say there's about a 20% chance they go undefeated, 80% chance.
I mean,
no.
that's really if the two games that they have left that would keep them from that would be Michigan and Ohio State. I don't know if they would probably lose the rest of those unless they had lost the other two already.
Yeah, exactly. It could spiral.
Yeah,
though.
you could spiral out of control and
There's-
take Oklahoma, but
Realistically, looking at this list here, and I know I'm jumping ahead, I think there's only 3 teams that could potentially go undefeated.
I mean, we only got a couple. UCLA.
No.
Yes. I think UCLA goes.
No,
12.
it's going to be chaos.
let me
There-
see who UCLA.
I don't
has.
know, man. I think
they've
they got at Oregon. If they can get through Oregon this week, which I don't know that they will. That's a tough task.
I don't think Oregon
but
loses another game this year.
Oregon might end up in the college football playoff.
I know that's so crazy.
I mean, dude, they're looking solid.
But I mean, how many times have we seen stuff like that where teams like they start off rocky when you new head coach and then they start just rolling, downhill. Just
Well, it's like TCU. Does TCU go
steamrolling
undefeated?
people. I mean, Oregon looks good.
You don't think so?
No.
Where does TCU lose?
Texas, for one thing.
TCU always beats Texas, though.
Not this year. No chance.
I think there's a chance. We're discrediting TCU by
I'm
saying
not
there's no
discrediting
chance.
TCU at all. I saw a lot.
There's
that
a
was
chance.
a good game between both a really good Kansas team with Texas.
Dude, but Texas played an awful Oklahoma team. I'm high on Texas. I think Texas wins the game. But to say there's no chance, TCU definitely has a chance. That Dugan, whatever his name is fire, bro. I mean, they threw the ball all over the field. Like, I think they got a shot. I would lean towards they're not going undefeated. They probably lose 2 games, honestly.
No,
but-
because they still play. They still play Baylor. They still play Kansas State. Texas Tech has been a scrappy team. I don't
they'll
understand.
beat Texas Tech.
I think they will too.
At Texas, though, is their toughest matchup. And then they go to at Baylor the next week. I mean,
And
that's
even
what I'm
Iowa
saying.
State.
It either all goes right or it all goes wrong. I do think they're going to beat Oklahoma State, Kansas State, West Virginia, Texas Tech. I think they're going to be undefeated going into that Texas game.
I'm going down the rabbit hole here and looking at trajectories here and past games. 42-34 against SMU. 38-13 against Colorado. Who is Tarleton's?
It's
Tarleton
just-
State. Never heard of that.
I mean,
before.
honestly,
Anyway,
though, the scores don't really tell us much. I'd say no, they're not going undefeated. But the whole you saying there's no way they beat Texas, that's where I kind of.
I don't think.
For
I mean,
you're talking about TCU, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say they won't beat Texas too, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm
There's
with you.
always a
I'm with you.
chance, and we've been proven this
But
year.
not really. I mean, some
There-
teams there's no chance.
Anybody can beat anybody. We've seen it all season. There's been a lot of close matchups, some major upsets. What happened to App State this week?
Who'd they play?
I don't even remember, but I know they lost.
Who cares? Syracuse. Does Syracuse get it done? Are they actual qualified? Like they're undefeated right now. I don't think they're going to go undefeated, but could they win the ACC?
I mean, yeah, they can. Will they is a different question.
They got NC State this weekend.
I think the NC State game
And
will
then they
show
go
us
to
a little more.
Clemson.
But they got, I mean, it really all depends. Honestly, I really want to see what Clemson looks like against a team that can throw the ball. Granted, I don't know if Florida State's going to do that or not. But if Clemson looks weak this week, even if they win, Syracuse could be that little little highlight spot there.
I think Syracuse might take them, but Syracuse ain't beating Wake Forest.
No, and let's go through this list. NC State at Syracuse,
Win.
at Clemson,
Win.
Notre Dame at home,
Win.
Toss up.
Pittsburgh at home, or Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. Sorry,
Win.
Florida State,
Win.
Wake Forest,
Loss.
Boston College.
Win. At best case scenario, I don't think they'll beat. Wake Forest has too much offense. Wake Forest is just looking lights out to me right now. I know I was high on them at the beginning of the year, and it's not even because I was high on them. I thought they were done with after that loss to Clemson. But the way they've looked the last 2 weeks, I'm like, can anyone stop that offense?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, they're a threat to anyone in the country, man. Wake Forest plays UNC. That is going to be a wild game.
November 12th is lining up to be a pretty good. I've been looking at November 12th. That looks like a fun week 2 of college football. What is that, week 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Syracuse probably loses 2 games, though. I mean, honestly. Would y'all say that?
I'd say they're good 10-2.
2 or 3, maybe.
10-2 is great for Syracuse.
James Madison goes undefeated. New Year's Six Bowl team, in my opinion.
I mean, I'll look at James Madison's schedule. I mean, I'm not going to know much about
I mean, yeah, I'm just
It's the
saying
first
that 'cause
year.
They're still on the. They've
First
never
year in
lost
the
in the
FBS.
FBS.
I can't believe this is a question, but does Georgia Tech win the Coastal?
I've thought of that, bro. No, North Carolina does,
Like-
but Georgia Tech's in it.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Man.
James Madison's schedule. All right, so play Georgia
It's
Southern
about
this
as
week.
dumb-
They get Marshall at home.
Marshall's not a good football
They do play
team.
Louisville.
Louisville's not a good football
Old
team.
Dominion.
It's
Freightliner.
about as dumb as Nebraska still being tied.
Nebraska could win the Big Ten West. Nebraska controls their own destiny in the Big Ten West.
So-
and Georgia
it's
Tech
so
controls it in the
ridiculous.
Coastal.
It's so ridiculous.
I have a feeling Nebraska's going to do it. So James Madison, what do you say? Yes or no?
I don't know. I mean, so they got a matchup at Louisville. All right.
Louisville
I mean,
sucks.
And then you got Old Dominion,
Sucks,
which Georgia
sucks.
State, Coastal.
Sucks.
This is my question.
Sucks,
they can
sucks,
go
sucks.
undefeated as long as they promise not to claim national championship status.
Well, they'll lose a New Year's Six bowl. I'm just saying they're going to go 12-0.
I think they can. I'm looking at the schedule and I'm like, I don't see them really losing a game. The Louisville game kind of makes me kind of
So-
maybe because it's a brand name.
Most likely to go undefeated, I would say, is Georgia and Ohio State. Then third, James Madison. I don't really think I wouldn't be surprised if none of them go undefeated though. Like honestly, I would not be shocked. There's a good chance that everybody loses.
It's always good for college football when no one's undefeated.
There's a good chance. I bet you only one team goes undefeated. But I don't know who. I'm
mean,
scared of
has-
Mississippi
you
State.
talking about regular season?
Regular season. Well, then, yeah, regular season.
Georgia, Ohio State,
I'm gonna say
Clemson,
3. I know that's a lot. I'm
and
gonna say
James Madison.
See,
and I'm gonna say one or two of those are almost irrelevant. Does that make sense?
kind of like James Madison.
Yeah, kind of like James Madison.
Yeah. All right, so who's y'all's dark horse? My dark horse is Oregon. A team
I'm
that's
agreeing.
lost,
Dude,
that's
that's-
going to sneak up on us and win and somehow make the playoff.
When I saw this
opposed to
part
that.
right here,
I'm
I'm
not
like, it's
opposed to
Oregon. I was hoping you wouldn't say that because I was going to be the bold guy saying that, but
I
we're
don't
the
think
same way.
it's bold, dude. I mean, what if Oregon wins the Pac-12 and gets the 3 seed in the playoff and win? What if Georgia rematches Oregon for the national championship?
Where's the playoff this year? Can they come back to Atlanta? Is there a playoff?
It's just like, what happens then? Because
God.
can the playoff committee look past that loss to Georgia? My answer is yes.
yes,
They've
yes.
looked dominated.
Yes, I mean they've done it in the past where you've like, all right, well, it's beginning of the year. You know,
Dude, that was a
on the road.
mud stomp.
Yeah, so and then Georgia's only looked worse since that time until this past week. So yeah, I'm definitely saying Oregon is, if they win out, they are 100% in the conversation for a playoff spot. Like I said before,
UCLA this week's a big game because they have to win out.
Listen. If I don't think Georgia and Bama both go undefeated into the SEC championship game. I don't.
I own one of them.
Only one.
Only one's making
Only
the
one
playoff.
can do that. That being said, whoever loses that game is not going to be in the playoffs. I have a very strong feeling that it is not going to end up being both of those teams.
I
that
think
make
they
the playoffs
might
this
end
year.
up both having a loss though,
That's-
and then
maybe,
a winner gets in.
potentially. But hear me out on this. With that 4 spot being open, and as weak as Alabama has looked in the past few weeks, and as weak as Georgia has looked throughout this year, I don't think they can afford a loss to one another in the SEC championships. And that being said, it may push them out because of how like an Oregon sneaks up in that spot. Say a Michigan looks good.
But the problem is there's no way a 1-loss Oregon gets in over a 1-loss Georgia.
I don't know. That's what's
Dude, you
scary,
can't
right?
go past a 49-3 thumping.
Right, sure. I get that, but how much weight does because the committee has made comments like that before. They're like, we're not going to wait some beginning of the season woes. We're going to wait you closer to what we see, toward second half.
They're worried about now.
I don't.
and not what
I
happened
don't
at
think
the
that
beginning.
they'd be able to explain
Do I
themselves
thi-
out of that.
Am I saying that that's absolutely like 100? Like that, I believe that they would put Oregon in a 1-loss Oregon in over a 1-loss Georgia. No, I don't.
They didn't win their conference.
But I'm saying that if one of those teams both have one loss, let's say Georgia has the regular season loss, Alabama goes undefeated, Georgia wins. I don't know that Alabama makes it in the playoffs.
Oh yeah. In that
Yeah,
scenario,
yeah.
I think Oregon gets in over Alabama.
and that's
Yeah.
But I'm just saying the opposite.
just
doesn't
because
happen.
I think that whereas at the beginning of the season I thought it was clear cut and dry. You have 2 undefeated teams, Georgia and Alabama, going into the playoffs. They play one another. One of them gets the 4th spot. One of them gets the the first
Alabama's
spot, Ohio
been-
State slides in, and then you have the fourth spot open to whoever team looks best. I think we're going to end up with 2 spots in the college playoffs where we're going to end up with some really competitive
Alabama's
teams.
been very unimpressive. We expected them to be loaded, and they haven't.
The
I don't know
offense
what's
is-
going on.
The offense isn't there, and what that does is exposes the defense, the young defense. It's a two-way street there.
So my other dark horse, though, is Mississippi State. I kind of think Mississippi State could take down Bama and Georgia. The problem is, I don't think they can beat Georgia again. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I do think, I mean, that team is good, man.
I still
Yeah.
think somehow, some way, Alabama wins the West. I still think they're going to lose a game somewhere. I just don't know. I can't. I don't know.
I'm pretty much on the same page as you.
Me too,
I don't
yeah,
think.
I think
I don't
so.
think that Alabama drops 2 games.
They could, though. If they lose,
They could.
They could have already lost 2.
At
They should
Tennessee,
have.
if
They
they-
should have lost 2 games.
Dude, if
already
they
this year.
lose to Tennessee this weekend, though, they're losing again. Like, I'm sorry, they have to beat Tennessee this weekend.
I think at that point, Alabama starts questioning themselves. You have to. You have to. Absolutely. You've almost lost 2
But
games.
So let's get into our picks then. Let's see what we think about that game. What
Well,
were you
I
going to
was
say
going
before
over.
we get into it?
I was going to say the college football playoff is the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl this year. I was hoping that we'd get a
my
Georgia
God.
Oregon
Dude, if
rematch.
UCLA sneaks in and it's in the Rose Bowl,
Oh my God.
that could be scary, man. They might have more than 7,000 fans
Dude, that would
there.
be awesome.
I hate that I missed the Rose Bowl when it was Oklahoma.
If it's in the Rose Bowl, we got to go if Georgia's playing in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go.
So what games we got coming up?
All right, so
Go to the it's easier.
you want to go through the spreadsheet
Yeah, so we
here?
can see it. Penn State and Michigan.
I'm taking Michigan.
Penn State.
Oh, let me pull up my thing here.
I just think that it's going to be a tough battle. Don't get me wrong, but I think Penn State had a bye week this week. I think, if I'm
Penn
not
State,
mistaken.
Michigan.
So
I'm going to say Michigan. And I am 50-50 on this game. You really asked me to toss a coin.
You're taking home field
I
advantage
don't know enough about either one of these teams at this point.
because we haven't seen enough.
No, I really haven't.
yeah, well, the Big Ten's so bad you don't
I
see them
know,
play
I know.
anybody.
It's so hard to pick. This game in particular, I really don't know. In this game, I feel like it could go either way, and it could go either way in a close fashion.
Yeah.
I don't see either team blowing each other out. I think it'll be close. It'll be interesting, but I'll take
If
Michigan.
there's a blowout, I think Penn State blows them out. Though, if Michigan blows Penn State out, I'd be shocked.
Yeah,
I'm just not impressed with them.
if Penn State blows Michigan out, I am all in on saying Ohio State's got should have their full attention.
I'm in
So-
full agreement on that, but I have to see this game first before I can say
do.
anything.
I'm with it.
Auburn and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss,
Ole Miss,
Kansas at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. No, I'm just kidding.
Kansas.
Kansas by
A lot.
3 touchdowns.
I think Oklahoma looks better this week, but Kansas wins.
Minnesota, Illinois.
I'm going Minnesota.
That's fine.
But the reason
But
that
I'm
game's
not-
even on here is because that could decide the Big Ten West.
I knew that's exactly why you put that on there. But this is an intriguing matchup. When I was going through the list of these games, I was like, this one I know isn't like a hallmark looking game and stuff when you see all these other games, but I'm like, this game is crucial
You
right
know,
here.
but Illinois is like a play away from being 6-0.
I know.
They should have beat Indiana. I don't know how they lost. Actually, bump that. I'm going with Illinois. I got a feeling that run game is going to do it again.
Tanner Morgan's kind of struggled with Minnesota the past few weeks. So, I mean,
it's a home game. I mean, granted, I think Minnesota's favored, but Illinois.
It's like a 3-point line, though.
Yeah, it's not
But,
bad.
yeah.
all right, here's the big one. Alabama at Tennessee.
We'll save that for last.
What's
Let's
the
come back-
spread?
let's come back to
Yeah,
Let's
let's
come
skip
back to
that.
Let's come back to that.
Oklahoma State at TCU.
I got TCU in that one.
I got TCU as well.
Oklahoma State's a good team, but at TCU.
Oklahoma State's
I know,
boring.
Right. I thought I really like TCU. I really like TCU. I picked TCU last week. I'm gonna pick Oklahoma State this week.
Really?
I could see that, though. I'm not stuck on TCU. I'm back and forth.
I don't consider this a home game for either one of the teams being in Texas. Granted, I know we know where it is, but I really, really think that Oklahoma State has a lot to show us. It's still TCU's a good team. It's going to be a fun. This week, like you said, is crazy, but this is one that was highlighted last week for sure. Regardless of the way TCU and Kansas played, this game is going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of offense in that game.
NC State at Syracuse.
Syracuse.
I got the Qs, man. I think they do it. I think they're a complete team. Good defense, good running game, good passing game.
Syracuse.
It's at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Syracuse wins.
I think NC State's gassed after Florida State. Just a rough. Devin
And
Leary's
then
out.
losing to Clemson the week before.
Devin Leary's got an issue right now with the injury, so definitely Syracuse.
Arkansas, BYU.
This one's tough.
I
Because
don't know.
I want to take Arkansas.
But I don't think I can.
I don't think I can either.
What do you think, Tyler?
No, that's
I'm
such
rolling with whatever Tyler thinks on this one.
Oh God, where's the game?
It's at BYU.
At BYU.
Give me BYU.
I'm giving BYU because of that.
BYU.
Salt Lake City, they beat up on Baylor at BYU, so why not do it to
Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Just is not impressed. This
This-
is so sad, dude. I had such high hopes for them.
This one's interesting. LSU at Florida. Oof. LSU with a big
Why
loss.
do I feel like every single game
Yes.
Florida's played is at home?
I'm
No.
I'm going with the Gators on this one. I was higher on LSU, but they just
We're picking too much of the
Yeah.
same
No,
teams, and I don't like this
did
right
you-
now.
I'm rolling with Florida.
Did you hear him rip apart LSU after like his own team? He just destroyed his own team after the.
Who said
the-
this?
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. Just ripped his team apart.
They
we
lose
don't
again.
We don't have the talent. We don't have the like. I just went down the line. I was like, dude, damn.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
rough. Yeah, give me.
This is not going to work. We can't throw for 85 yards with the talent that we have and expect to beat the top 10 teams in the country.
You can't talk badly about your team.
It's
like
at
that.
Florida too.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a close game because Florida's not that good. But we were
Florida's
high
good at home.
This will be a good opportunity for Florida to showcase what they can do. And if it's a game or another anemic week for Richardson, it's time to look elsewhere. You're setting yourself up for another season. I mean,
They
let's
win
go.
sloppy though.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've been sloppy all
They're
season.
incapable
So
of
they're gonna,
playing a complete game.
yeah,
Clemson at Florida State.
I'm taking Clemson. I want to take Florida State bad.
No, I'm going to take Florida State. I have to. I'm going to ride with them until they're not playing any more games.
I'm going to roll with Clemson close.
Yeah.
I want to take Florida State, and a part of me says Florida State, but the problem is I keep going against Clemson, and they keep winning, man. I mean, what can you?
I'm
At
not,
some
I'm
point,
not mad at it. If I hadn't picked Florida State the way I had at the beginning of the year, then I probably would pick Clemson as well. But
I think close. That's a close game.
I do too. I think it's a close. It's a fourth quarter
I
game.
think there's
5
gonna
minutes
be-
in fourth quarter. It comes down to whoever has the ball.
I'm going to
last.
pick Clemson and hope Florida State wins.
I think there's going to be very, very.
I'm with you on
little-
that. Please, let's have Florida State win.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think Florida State could do it though.
I think there's going to be very little defense played in this game. I really do. It's just going to be a shootout, I think, and it's going to see
Big plays.
It's going to. It really. I have a feeling it's going to be like the Wake Forest game.
I don't know. I think it's going to be low scoring.
You think so?
I'm on the opposite.
I don't
think
know if their defenses are good enough. That Clemson giving up a lot of passing yards and Florida State allows a lot of rushing, I think is going to end up being a high scoring game.
But
Big
I think
plays.
the problem is that it depends how well coached Florida State is, because I think that now Clemson's coming into their own as a offense. I think now teams are going to be able to dissect that, because you got to think this Clemson being good at offense is new. It's like 3 weeks new. So the question is, are they exposed by Florida State with this new offense? Because if they get DJ down and out and they run some sneaky blitzes, Florida State's got a shot at winning this game. But the safe pick's Clemson. I'm going to take the safe pick. I picked against them too much, but let's go Seminoles. Mississippi State at Kentucky.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. I think Kentucky's a good team, but Mississippi State's too good.
Mississippi State will win handily.
Will Levis be playing in this game?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Duke
matter.
and UNC. Rivalry.
I hate picking UNC.
I'm taking the Tar
Taking
Heels.
the Tar Heels.
Tar Heels big.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Washington State at Oregon State.
I don't
State.
know. I'm
Oregon
going
State
with-
hasn't looked too good since they
Yeah.
lost to USC.
They barely beat Stanford this week. I was high enough, but I'm taking Oregon State. Oregon State's going to be a tough place
The
to play.
Beavers.
All right, so let's go to College Game Day. Once again, goes to Rocky Top. Alabama at Tennessee. Who do you guys got? Silence.
I am
You go.
picking Tennessee to win this game.
I am picking Tennessee to win this game.
Roll Tide. Man, Bryce Young will be playing, and they're going to go out and impress. It's one of them things where it's like, oh, man, Bama's bad. And then the next week you're like, oh, man, Bama's great. So this is the game that we're going to bet on here because we're disagreeing. I owe something for Kansas losing. So Tyler's working that up. He said something about me looking like Geoff Collins or some junk. My God, So I got to dress up like a bum, I guess, because he ain't got a job.
I thought about maybe getting a bag, like get some writing or something like that, and putting a bag, and you have to wear a paper bag for like the first 10 minutes.
Whatever I need to do.
Like,
I guess I'll do that next
Clemson or
week.
something.
I'm thinking you have to do a whole segment as Dabo. That is I think funny enough for me. You gotta be decked out in Clemson gear.
I thought we
you have
just
to
have
say
like,
nothing but positive things about Clemson.
Just the whole episode, I'm just all about Clemson.
Just all Clemson. Like, every comment has to be about.
he even comes out. His drink of choice is Orange Crush.
Oh,
like he's all
just
about
over the top Clemsoning, like just all of it.
Hopefully they Clemsoning this weekend.
Hopefully, they Clemson.
All right, so but Dustin's gonna have to pay the cost on this one, man. Bama's taking them down.
It's been 16 years since Tennessee's beat Bama.
And the reason I don't think it happens is just because it's too many people are picking it.
Yeah,
and
sure,
when
sure.
Saban's back is against the wall, Sabans
Yeah.
and dominates. I don't think they dominate. I
You're
think they'll be
not wrong.
close.
You're-
But I think Bama. I hope Tennessee wins the game.
See, I want Alabama to win the game.
I don't. I want Tennessee to win. I want it to be so big when they come to Athens and get destroyed that they're like ranked number 1 in the country and Georgia's ranked number 2. Like that would make my life.
When you put that scenario in place and make me realize that, that's a good epiphany to have. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That
All
makes
right.
sense.
If Alabama allows the kind of passing that Tennessee has been able to get this year, they're going to be in trouble.
I don't think they will, though. That's the thing. I think Bryce Young will be back. I think the defense will play good.
I only reference this for how bad they played on the road against Texas because it had very little to do with how well Texas was playing and how very, very bad Alabama played in a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Are the hostile environments equal with Texas being in Neyland? Probably not. But good
Neyland's
and
pretty
well,
tough.
Neyland's going to be rocking.
Oh, yeah. This is the
going
biggest
to
game
be
they've had in Neyland in
electric.
forever.
So, that being said, I am solely picking this game based on the aesthetics of it. It has nothing to do with how bad Bama played last week. It is mostly about Alabama as a whole versus a team that seemingly hasn't made a lot of mistakes. Hookers doesn't have an interception this year.
He does this weekend, though.
It could, yes, very well could have.
I think it all falls in Rocky Top this weekend. I think the hype about Tennessee will go away. I could be wrong. I want Tennessee to win the game.
We're gonna see. There's two big headlines here. Either Alabama proves that they are as good as they have been, or Tennessee proves that they're just as good as the rest of the company.
My read on Alabama, though, is they beat Tennessee and then lose to Mississippi State. I think they're going to lose. I think now that it's all hyped and Tennessee, Bama's going to show up. Bryce Young's going to be back. I think Bryce Young probably could have played this weekend. I think he knew he didn't need him. He almost did need him, though. I mean, I think that game got a little closer than Saban anticipated. But Bryce Young will be fine. He's going to light it up. Tennessee's defense isn't that good, guys. That's the problem. They've given up 400-something yards a game.
It's going to be a shootout.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Bama blew them out. I don't think that will happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not going to be surprised at anything.
We're about to go into our Super Dog pick of the week. We got to pick somebody that is more than a touchdown dog. So let's kind of start there. Mine's easy. I got Michigan's a 7-point favorite over Penn State. Penn State wins outright.
What's the Alabama-Tennessee spread?
Like 3.
7.5. Alabama.
Yeah, 7.5 Alabama. Yeah.
I'll take that.
So you're going with?
I'm going with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, straight up.
What? Why is Oklahoma favored against Kansas?
How
By
much?
7.
I'm taking Kansas in
Are
that
you
one.
looking at last year or this year?
No, this is this year.
I'll do 2. There's no way. I'm looking at the spreads here too.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch my pick to that one.
I'm not kidding. It's wow.
I will take Kansas and 10 points.
Surely that's got to change.
No, I'll take Kansas and 17 points.
God.
Yeah, it's
That's
bad.
crazy.
I don't.
Kansas is 17.
No sense.
I'm trying to see if there's like a bigger one. Obviously, let's see.
James Madison at 10.5. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean Georgia Southern could do some damage. Nah, I'm sticking with mine. I think Penn State beats them, and I also think that Kansas wins. Other than that, those are my two picks. They're more than a touchdown favorite. We love to hear what y'all think. Please comment throughout the show. I mean,
Yeah, just whenever. Just
Yeah,
on the show.
yeah. So when you see it pop up Tuesday,
we'll be commenting with you, talking with you. We didn't even say that the show wasn't live, but
yeah, we pre-recorded this on a Sunday night.
So we can state that beforehand. So
Yeah,
but yeah. Y'all got anything before we close? We can cut that little part where we were confused.
no, I think we leave it raw like it is.
But do we got anything that we want to say before we close out?
I'm going to reiterate my statement that I said earlier in the show. Send your wives away, get your couch ready, get everything you need, and sit down and watch
I've cleared
14
Saturday's done. I'm here. all day.
hours of college football because it's going to be a wild week 7.
Can't wait.
Can't
I'm
wait.
excited. We'd love to hear y'all's comments, thoughts. Keep posting stuff. And,
Yep.
keep inviting people to the page. Share this if you
You
can. We're
can
gonna
share
get-
it now since it's going to be a YouTube link. And is that correct?
So this will actually be posted to the All Clock Conference page by itself, and then also into the group, so it can be shared from.
So
the
we can,
page.
everyone can share this. So you have no excuses now. Share the heck out of this
Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
All right, guys. Have a good week.